Hey y'all, my name is Jason Robertson and I'm the owner of Outdoor Legacy Gear. Today I want to talk to you about the LEUPOLD LTO tracker thermal imaging device. Now when most people hear the name LEUPOLD, they immediately think of high quality daytime optics like rifle scopes, binocular spotting scopes. And that'd be correct because LEUPOLD has been making high quality optics for many years. But now with the release of the LTO tracker, they've entered into the thermal imaging market. When they first announced this unit back a few months ago, they said it was going to be $699, and I immediately couldn't figure out what LEUPOLD could build for $699 that was going to be much more than a toy. However, I knew it was going to have LEUPOLD stamped on the side of it, so I had high hopes that it would be quality, and they did not disappoint. I've had this unit for over 3 weeks now. I've used it extensively, and I've been very impressed with what this little thing will do for $699. So I've had a lot of questions about this. A lot of customers have been asking me, what it will do and what it won't do. And so I just want to go over and give a full review, try to answer all those questions that I can that'll hopefully help you decide if this is something that would be, good for you or not. So I'm going to jump right into it. I'm going to talk fast because there's a lot to cover. So we're just going to get right into it. The first thing I'd say is it's when you pick it up, what you want to do is you want to put this into your eye, and that's wrong for 2 reasons. Number one, this is actually the objective end. This is the lens, and the larger end is the viewing end. I know that's opposite of what we're normally used to, but that's the way this works. Also, it's not a true monocular. You don't actually put it up to your eye. Instead, you hold it out here at a comfortable viewing distance, say 12 to 18 inches, whatever's comfortable for your eye, and you just look through it that way. You have this round 1.22 inch LCD screen. It's got a resolution of 240 by 204, and you also have a refresh rate of 30 hertz. Now for those who are familiar with thermal, you know immediately that 30 hertz is a decent refresh rate. If you're not familiar with what it means, essentially the higher the refresh rate, the better. And 30 hertz is pretty standard across a lot of scopes, even $3,000 and $4,000 optics. A lot of them still just have 30 hertz refresh rate. So that's very good. I'm glad they put that in there. I really expected it to be a much slower refresh rate than that. So again, overall, it feels really good in the hand. It's got a metallic housing, what you'd expect to find on a LEUPOLD rifle scope. It feels really good in the hand. It doesn't weigh that much. You could throw it in your pack. I don't think you'd ever know it was there. Let's go over these buttons here on the top. You've got a power button, and this power button obviously turns it off and on, but also if you press it, it will put crosshairs on the screen. I don't know why. I have no idea why LEUPOLD did that. I've had guys ask me, hey, it's got crosshairs, so can I put it on my rifle? No, this is not a weapons mountable scope. It is a remote viewer. There's no way to move the crosshairs, to zero them, to sight it in, so that's not what it's made for, and I wouldn't try because it's just not what it is. Again, I don't know why they put them there, but it's optional. I don't put them on there when I'm looking through it. It's just a distraction to me. Here in the middle, this button manipulates the zoom. It is a 6-power magnification. It's digital zoom, so what that means is you're actually just zooming in on the image itself. So if you're familiar with digital zoom, you know that it's okay up to a point, but it gets very grainy and blurry quickly. And so it's not something that I find extremely useful. I don't find myself ever using it. I have played with it, but it's just not something that I find necessary. So that's there. The third button controls the 6 different color palettes. So you have 6 different options you can choose. I'm not going to go over all those. I'm just going to say that the standard white hot is the one I like the best. That's the default setting, and gets really the default on most thermal rifle scopes. That just means that anything that is hot is going to be white. If that's anything the heat glows white, and that's just the one I like the best. So that's normally what I leave it on. If you hear me talking about something being white, it's just because that's the color palette that I'm using. Also, it is worth noting that I'm not going to try to show you what this looks like. I'm not going to show you any pictures or video, and the reason is simple. There's no good way to get pictures or video out of here. There's no way to put an SD card in. There's no video out port, so it's just a viewer. It doesn't have any of those options. The only way that I could show you pictures or video would be to put the camera right up to the lens and try to take a picture of it, which I have tried to do, and it looks terrible. It doesn't look anything like what I'm actually seeing. So I don't want to show you something that is a bad representation of what you're actually seeing when you're using this unit. So I don't have any good way to show you that right now. There are some videos and pictures I've seen floating around out there, but none of them do justice to what this little unit will really do. One more thing I do want to show you. Right inside here, you can take this, and this is your battery. You've got these two pieces are tethered together with a piece of plastic so they won't come apart. It takes a CR123A disposable lithium battery, and Leupold says that this unit has a 10-hour continuous battery life. I haven't used it for 10 hours continuously, but I have used it for about 8 or 9 hours over the last 3 or 4 weeks, and the battery life still seems to be good. I'm still going strong, so I'm very pleased with the battery life. I have no complaints whatsoever about that. So let's talk about what this unit will do, what it won't do, and who it might be good for. It is labeled as the LTO tracker, so they're definitely planning on you using this as a tracking device. I'm not sure if you've ever tracked deer or hogs or any animal that you've shot and you're trying to recover. I don't know if you've ever done that with a thermal device, but if you have, then you know that it can make you a very lazy blood trailer in a hurry. I have done it with other thermal imaging, and what happens is when you get to that point where the blood trail is hard to follow or you've lost it, you just pick up your whatever your thermal imager is and you start scanning and looking for it, and if that animal is anywhere nearby, you are going to find it. Tall grass, even thick brush, unless it's just so thick you can't see through it, or crawl through it. Even 20, 30 yards in normal thickness of woods, if there's a dead animal laying over there, it's not going to hide from thermal. So it's extremely handy for that. Extremely handy. And again, that's kind of what it's marketed as, and I think it's going to help a lot of people recover a lot of deer and other animals that they've shot that they're trying to blood trail. And so definitely it's worth picking up just for that. But what most of my customers are asking is how this is going to be as basically a spotting scope at night. There's a lot of guys out there that have got night vision now, but they don't have anything handheld. All they have is a rifle scope mounted on the rifle, and so all night long they're picking up their rifle and they're just scanning back and forth. I call it panning and scanning, just back and forth, and they're just trying to see what's out there in the field, and it works. The only issue is it can get very tiring if you don't have a rest or shooting sticks or something. You're just holding that rifle up, and even if you do, you've still got to hold it up and just spin it around back and forth all night, and it definitely gets tiring in a hurry. And it also eats up the batteries in your rifle scope, so that's something to think about. I think this unit is going to be excellent for that. As an entry-level thermal imager, I think it's just going to be wonderful for the guys who don't have anything and are having to use their rifle scope all night. I'll tell you what it will do, because I have used it enough that I've seen a lot of animals at night with it, and I can just go ahead and tell you, under 100 yards, you're going to be able to pretty much identify what that animal is, a large animal, be it a coyote, hog, a deer. At first, you might see that animal out there and you say, it's a glowing object with 4 legs. I don't know what it is. But it may only take just a second. But if that animal will move, you can then better see the profile of what it is, and you can determine. It doesn't take long to see, oh yeah, that's the long neck of a deer. I can tell that's what it is. It's not a hog. As the animal moves, you go, oh yeah, I can kind of see that belly, short legs. So I don't think identification under about 100 yards is going to be difficult at all. Once you start getting out over that, it gets much more difficult, and it just kind of turns into, again, a glowing white object there that you're just not exactly sure what it is. And that's okay, because you know something's there, and that's what you're trying to do. Now you get your rifle scope out, you put it up, and you look and you say, oh yeah, that's a hog, or that's a coyote, or whatever. And so for actual spotting, it's going to be great. Again, identification up under, say, 100 yards, I think it'll be really handy for that. But I'll say this, I've got a steel target down in my pasture 250 yards exactly. In multiple occasions, I have spotted deer down around 275, a little more actually, 275 yards, and past that with this. What you see is at that point a very small, just almost what I call a blip on the radar, as there's something a little bit white, barely I can see it. If I was moving real fast, I could miss it. But if I just come by slow and go, whoop, there's something right there. I don't have any idea what it is. I couldn't tell you if it's hogs or deer or coyotes or whatever, but I can tell you something's down there. Then I pull out the rifle scope, look, and I can say, oh yeah, absolutely, that's deer. So I would easily say 250 yards is not going to be a problem spotting stuff. I think it's actually going to be a good bit more than that. Like I said, I've done it at 275. But again, you're talking about, it's only 1.5 power. Well, you can zoom, but just using that, man, it's going to be really small. But you know something's there, and that's all you're trying to do with this anyway. Leupold does say that it has a 600-yard detection range. I'm not exactly sure how they're measuring that or where they're getting that. I'm sure that's true in some sense, but I would say for hogs or deer, I don't think you're going to get anywhere near 600 yards, but that's a long ways anyway. If you can just see out there at 200 or 300 yards, I think it's going to suit you very well. So again, that's the basic overview of this. I think it's going to be great, like I said, for guys who don't have any kind of handheld monocular or viewing device, and they're wanting to go out night hunting with their rifle scope, but just don't want to have to pan and scan and hold that rifle scope up all night long. I think this is going to be a great option for that. Again, you've got the added benefit of being able to use it for blood trailing animals. And one thing I should mention on that, I have guys saying, oh, can you see the blood? The only way you would see the blood with this is if you were so close behind that animal that drop of blood still had heat in it and was warmer than the leaf or the brush that it had fallen on. And you know, one single drop of blood is not going to take long to essentially come to room temperature and acclimate to whatever the temperature is around it. So the answer to that in my mind is no. I mean, if you're that close behind an animal that you can see the blood, then that thing is still moving. But I have tried. I mean, just because I've had so many people say, oh, no, I think you can do it. You can't do it. If that blood is cooled down, then you can't do it. So for whatever that's worth, I did want to throw that out there. So again, I think for $699, you've got the Leupold name stamped on it. They're giving a 5-year warranty on this, which is pretty amazing for any type of electronic device. But Leupold always stands behind their products, so I'm not surprised at that. 5-year warranty, made in the USA, $699, 30 hertz refresh rate. I think it's going to be a huge seller. We've got them in stock. If you go to our store and you see they're out of stock, it just means we're waiting on another shipment. So feel free to call us. We can give you some kind of an idea of how long it would be, but we're trying to keep them in stock. They are super popular. Right now, I've got a lot of guys interested in them. So if you have any questions about these, feel free to call us. I'm going to put the number down below here. You can ask for me, and I'll be glad to answer any questions that I can about the tracker or any other night vision for that matter. We always want to help people before the sale and after the sale. If you've got questions about the products, if you've got a budget and you don't know what you can get for it, or you just a couple different scopes you want to compare, feel free to call. I'm glad to talk to people and help anybody that I can before you make the purchase so that you make the right decision. Again, we've got all kinds of night vision and night vision accessories on the website at outdoorlegacygear.com. If you call and we don't answer, just leave us a message. We're super busy and I'm on the phone all day long, but if you'll leave a message, I'll call you back as soon as I can, and we'll just again be glad to answer any specific questions you have about the tracker or any other night vision device. So again, check us out at outdoorlegacygear.com. Check out our other YouTube videos, and we just really appreciate y'all taking the time to watch this video.
Hey
Hey y'all, thanks for watching this video. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out our online store at OutdoorLegacyGear.com. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. We sure hope you enjoy watching the rest of our videos.